All right, y'all. So let's talk about this thing that just went down with AOC. She wanted to be the head of the oversight committee, and she put that out there. And reporting is that Nancy Pelosi, literally from a hospital bed after getting a hip replacement after a fall she had, she organized the defeat of AOC and got her ideological ally to lead the committee. So here's what they say in Axios. AOC defeated by Connolly in battle for oversight role. Wait until you hear the specifics. This is almost like, this is comical, what you're about to hear. House Democrats on Tuesday elected Representative Jerry Connolly, Democrat from Virginia, as the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, according to multiple lawmakers familiar with the matter. Connolly, 74 years old, defeated 35-year-old Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, withstanding a generational revolt that saw several of Democrats' septuagenarian committee leaders pushed out of their roles. AOC, one of House Democrats' most high-profile members, also lost a vote of the House Democratic Steering and Policy Committee on Monday. So the way that works is, apparently this House Democrat Steering and Policy Committee, they do like the preliminary votes on who they want to be the head of the different committees. And they had voted for Connolly, but it was kind of close. But then when it got to the full House, Connolly won by even more. So they say Connolly defeated AOC 131 to 84. He had the backing of several veteran lawmakers, including Pelosi. The role came open after current oversight ranking member Jamie Raskin opted to run for the top Democratic spot on the Judiciary Committee. Connolly hinged his case on experience and his political ability, including arguing that he helped make Virginia a blue state, according to multiple lawmakers who heard his pitch. Now, before I continue, let me say, this is one of the most key committees because this is where you can get, grilling of people in MAGA world, right? And now we got a 74-year-old dude who, by the way, is hanging on to life by a thread. More on that later. As opposed to a younger Democrat with a massive following who is so different as a Democrat that, we saw the reaction and the videos of multiple people who in her district voted both for her for Congress and for Donald Trump for president. Right? That's the kind of crossover appeal she has. She's viewed more as an outsider by a lot of people. And instead of having somebody who's good in front of the cameras, who's better at making arguments, who's photogenic, you got this dinosaur up there. All right, let me give you more. He's the ranking member in waiting, is how Representative Emanuel Cleaver, who supported Connolly, summed up the Virginians' case. Oh my God, that's so sad. Oh my God, that's so sad. It's all like hierarchy and seniority and order. Like, it's his turn. We got to go with him. It's his turn. Gosh. Ocasio-Cortez emphasized her far-reaching public platform, her ability to communicate, and her energetic support for colleagues in recent congressional elections, lawmakers said. Again, more on that in a little bit. Lawmakers who supported Connolly acknowledged that his relative seniority over Ocasio-Cortez played a big role, as did his steering committee victory the day earlier. I mean, guys, the seniority argument, it's your turn argument, this is like what got us Joe Biden. And this is what got us Joe Biden thinking he was the one in 2024. It's the same mindset. It's been 10 years since we resisted a steering committee recommendation, noted Representative Don Bayer, a staunch Connolly ally. I love that. Like, well, it would break with norms and precedent if we said we want AOC. We can't do that. Gosh, golly. The full caucus voted in 2014 to shrug off steering's recommendations that Representative Anna Eshoo lead the Energy and Commerce Committee and elected Representative Frank Pallone. One issue Ocasio-Cortez had to confront was her past support for primary challengers to incumbent House Democrats, a sore subject for many lawmakers. In other words, hold on now, AOC, you got to Congress. You don't understand. This is like a big country club here. We got each other's backs. We put aside ideological and substantive differences, and we look out for each other here. That's what we do. And you had the nerve to say, hey, I support this Democrat because this Democrat is in favor of Medicare for all and a higher minimum wage and things that I think would actually fix the country. I support them over this dinosaur incumbent who's super corrupt. They said, how dare you do that? How dare you? You're not supposed to buck the system. You're not supposed to buck your own party. You're supposed to fall in line and be a good little girl. This is all out in the open. Like, this is what people were offended by about AOC. Like, oh my God, you didn't get here and powder all of our bottoms and tell us all we're special and circle the wagons and protect us all. But she doesn't agree with all of you. Oh my God. She was pressed on the issue in Monday's Steering and Policy Committee meeting. Dinosaurs, according to one House Democrat who said she pledged not to continue that practice. So, by the way, when she first got in there, yes, she supported some primary challengers in like the next election cycle. But since then, she's actually said, okay, this clearly pissed off a lot of my colleagues. Therefore, I might be able to get less done of what I want to get done. So I guess I got to turn around and support my colleagues, regardless of ideological differences. And AOC thought, well, this is the way to climb the ladder, because this is what they're telling me I need to do to climb the ladder, to get more power, to make more change, right? Then she does the thing they want her to do, and they go, nope, not enough, because there was a time when you supported primary challengers against some of us, and we're going to hold that against you forever. So then why the fuck would she change her actions? Why the fuck would she have stopped doing that? If you're going to spit in her eye regardless, she should have kept trying to primary all you fucking idiots. She rattled off all the stats. I've raised over $1 million for members. I've paid all my DCCC dues. I was one of the most active surrogates for the Biden and Harris campaigns. Quote, I'm disappointed. I know Jerry will do a great job. This is from AOC. But there's no substitute for having someone in that position that literally has millions of Americans following her on social media, said Representative Becca Ballant. Oh, okay. So I was an ally to AOC. I think that the seniority issue in this building gets in the way. Our people back home, they don't care about seniority, Ballant said. No shit. No shit. You don't say. Both candidates' supporters predicted that AOC would be elevated to a leadership role in the not-so-distant future. Connolly's trademark vigor made colleagues comfortable that he could take on the Trump administration despite his age and recent cancer diagnosis. Connolly said, quote, we're looking at capability. We're not looking at age. Is somebody capable, irrespective of how old they are, and if they bring energy and enthusiasm? Are you ready for this? You literally can't make this up. Quote, Jerry's a young 74, cancer notwithstanding. You guys are a joke. You guys are pathetic. I mean, this is embarrassing, bro. This is embarrassing. You wonder, like, oh, gosh golly, how do we lose to Donald Trump? I don't understand. This is so crazy. I thought we had this unlocked. Jerry's a young 74, cancer notwithstanding. So we get this fucking dinosaur centrist who's never made a good argument in his life, never been compelling, never generated any headlines ever. This is going to be the guy to lead the committee to take on MAGA and be one of the most front and center Democrats for Trump's second term. Are you guys out of your mind? And so why? Why did Pelosi orchestrate this? You guys know. You remember when AOC first got there? You had like Green New Deal protesters in Pelosi's office. And what did AOC do? She went in the office and she joined the protesters and she gave a speech. And Nancy Pelosi has never let that go. Because to Nancy Pelosi, the biggest sin is actually believing in something and taking on your own party about that thing. She says, no, we have hierarchy. We have order. We have leadership. What the top says goes, and that's the end of the conversation. Okay, but what if I don't agree with the top? What if when you guys say, we're not going to do Medicare for all, I say, fuck you, I want to do Medicare for all? What if when you guys say, hey, let's drop the increase in the minimum wage from this bill? What if I say, I don't agree, I want to keep it in there? Doesn't matter if you disagree. You fall in line like a good little girl. Don't listen to your constituents. Don't listen to the American people. Don't actually try to fix things. Do what I say. So look, this is, I mean, it's almost like Democrats want to lose, right? You're clinging to your norms and your order and your seniority so hard, and you don't understand. There are no more rules, bro. The rules are dead. The rules are gone. Donald Trump won the presidency again. He had 91 criminal charges and tried to overturn the last election. Do you think those fuckers give a shit about seniority or hierarchy or rules? No. They broke every rule in the book to get to where they are. And now they have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Why are you playing by old rules? So look, now this opens up the door to the broader conversation, right? And this is genuinely an interesting conversation to have. What I would say to AOC is, look, you can be a movement candidate or a machine candidate. You can be a movement politician or a machine politician. but you cannot be both. You can't. You just can't. It doesn't work if you try to have one foot in each world, right? So when AOC got to Congress, guys, there wasn't a question. She came in as a movement candidate. She was a movement politician. It was Justice Democrats that got her in there. It was the people. She was a voice for the people. So she was supposed to harness that outsider energy and come to really make change. So with you getting in there as a movement candidate, that means you should have been a movement politician, right? And to be fair to her, she tried it. She supported primaries against her, other people in her party, and she paid a political price for it. But the thing is, her reaction to that was, okay, well, this isn't working to get me friends in Congress, which means I don't think I could get more change done, which means I guess I'll start listening to some of their criticisms, and I guess I'll stop supporting primaries against my colleagues. And so she tried to transition from a movement candidate and a movement politician to a machine candidate and a machine politician. But it was never going to work. The source of your power came from being an outsider, came from that giant following you have on social media, came from your ability to generate headlines, right? You need to make the other Democrats fear you. That's what you need. Because when your power becomes so astonishing and overwhelming and you're willing to use it, that's when they say, hey, maybe it's a placater, maybe we give her some sort of a leadership role, right? Because they're afraid of the trouble you can cause if they don't give you a leadership role. That was your lane. That was your move, right? Now, by the way, is it possible as a machine politician to make change? Sure, but you have to actually want to make change, right? And you have to come in day one knowing I'm going to play the game, I'm going to climb the ladder, and then when I get to the top, then I'm going to do some good things. I'm going to do some base things. Right, but she started out as a movement politician, then she became a machine politician, and you're never going to out-machine the other creatures of the machine. They've been creatures of the machine since day one, right? So I think it was a fool's errand to try to switch it up and start listening to leadership and making friends there. I mean, again, if you wanted to take that path, it should have been that path from day one. But that wasn't your assignment. Your assignment was, I'm a movement candidate and I'm going to be a movement politician. And if that means you don't have friends there, it means you don't have friends there. But the way for you to get into positions of power is to leverage basically your mob of supporters. Because you're actually a representative of them and they really like you and they're willing to do stuff for you and go to the mat for you. You can have your people make phone calls. You can have your people protest politicians who get in the way. You can create 1,000 headlines with your ability to make an argument and piss off the right and trigger the right. A lot of her power is in her ability to trigger the right and get in those fights with the right. That's a weapon. That's a weapon. But I think she's fearful of controversy, but controversy is one of her biggest weapons and she doesn't realize it. Right? And so she never should have tried to make that switch to being a machine politician. And by the way, just so we're clear, it's not even a guarantee that her being a movement politician would have worked, right? That's not even a guarantee. Could have been she had a brick wall at every turn and trying to leverage the power of her supporters just wasn't enough to get her more power to do more good and make more change for the better. That could have failed too. But one thing I know for sure is you had to pick one or the other. You had to pick one or the other. There are examples of machine politicians who got into positions of power and then were actually based, right? You can make an argument for LBJ was kind of like that. But you can't have one foot in each world. Your assignment needed to be really clear. And they're just always going to hold it against you that you tried to primary them. They're always going to hold it against you. And trying to being an outsider and then basically trying to shoehorn yourself into the Kamala Harris role of I'm going to play by the rules. I'm going to not step on toes. I'm going to climb that ladder by snuggling up to the right people. It's how far did that get Kamala, right? What happened with her? So I don't know. It's upsetting on multiple fronts. I don't want to beat up too much on AOC here because the bigger problem is that this fucking party is pathetic. Right? It doesn't matter how many times you show them the lesson directly to their face. They're just nope, I don't see it. I don't want to see it. I don't care. Right? It doesn't matter how many times. It's in the wake of Kamala losing, so many idiots were well, why don't we just throw immigrants more under the bus and trans people more under the bus? It's really? That's your fucking takeaway after Trump wins again? is Kamala didn't go to the center enough as she's gallivanting around the country with Liz Cheney. Like, they just never learn. They never learn. So anyway, it's like this is the Democrats weakening themselves going forward. You have a 74-year-old with esophageal cancer who's never said anything interesting in his life, and he's supposed to lead us in taking on MAGA? He's supposed to lead us. So, yeah. Although, to be fair, who knows how long will we be able to last in that position, given he's fighting cancer and he's 74. I don't know. Older people with cancer, things seem to not go too well in that scenario. So who knows how long he'll be in there. But it's a real shame. It's a real shame. I feel like AOC should have always stayed that movement politician. And that's a path to power through a different way, right? It's a path to power through sheer force of will and power in numbers of the people you've galvanized. Because AOC, I got news for you. The 74-year-old with esophageal cancer and all of his idiot colleagues who care about decorum and norms and civility and hierarchy and order, none of them have any of the popular support that you do. And you never use that tool. But you should, I guess, is the point. And you should have never left that lane as the movement candidate, because I think she would have went further that way. But we'll see. Maybe eventually she'll get into a leadership role, and we'll see what she ends up doing with it. But for right now, it's another giant middle finger to AOC and Justice Democrats and anybody who is even one degree or another of an outsider at any point. They're trying to make it crystal clear to you they don't like you. They don't like you. They don't want you. They actually despise you. And that's why, I'm sorry, but it's true. You need to, on the Democratic side, we really need to see like a Trump-like figure who can come in, run for president, break the mold, and make the party bend to his will or her. And that's why I always say like Jon Stewart. Trump broke the Republican Party, violated every taboo, stepped on everybody's toes, played the carrot or the stick game, and he was able to mold an entire political party and a country to his will. And on the Democratic side, nobody does that. Nobody tries to do that. It's all, let me play the game and and step up the ladder the right way. And it's like, that ain't it, dog. That ain't it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.